Hello everyone and welcome back to Gearing Your First Level 60 Part 2. Now in Part 1 we discussed beginning gearing and we told you to, well I told you anyway, to go to finish the story first of all and then go to Ziost. So this is Drodar post Ziost. We put him in the full set of gear that we got. So we got the head, the chest, the gloves, the pants, the boots, and the offhand is what we got from Ziost. Everything else is still 178. Now I did buy an implant here because again you get enough of these, wrong thing, these Ziost memory holographs. I also managed to get 2 DPS 191s, which is handy. They both got accuracy in them, quite good stats, crit accuracy there. So if we ever decide to go DPS spec, we've always got these two here. So again, I decided to spend some of them, so I got enough. I had about 25 I think, and it was 15 for one of them. So this is the Ziost vendor right here, Denth right here, Republic or Empire, doesn't matter. It's the same vendor. This is where you buy your Citadel things. You can see they cost 10 Ziost memory holographs and 80 basic comms. This is generally where you kind of want to be buying most of your gear. You get Ziost memory holographs by doing the Ziost dailies. When you finish the story, you get a bunch of them. If you want the 190 main hand, which you missed out on in the last video, you need to do the world boss. It's the, I think it's the Colossal World Breaker, that one, the one that's not instanced. Should be fairly easy to find a group. It's ridiculously easy, but you are at the mercy of RNG, so I think we'll just go for a 186 one. So from here on, I'm gonna buy the 186 belt and bracers. I don't really like the 190 ones, so we'll just use our basic comms. We have 777 basic comms. We got tons of basic comms anyway. These don't cost many basic comms. There's the odd thing like the Duelist implant, which I bought because it was shield absorb. It had a decent amount of absorb in it. 113 absorb, pretty nice actually. It's pretty nice. These oh, in fact, yeah, are they 100? No, they're 118 absorb. 113 is the Skyridge one that we're looking at. So they're pretty nice for a shadow tank. They've got a lot of absorb in them, so I decided to buy them. Could go and get more of these. I have stacks of them, stacks and stacks of them. But things like this, again, shield defense, do we really want that? I mean, probably look at the 186 vendor one, see if it's shield absorb. We don't want to ignore our defense really. As a tank, we're 38.7, probably a bit too high on defense, too low on absorb. We want to get above 40% absorb before we start doing any real group content. But I am going to get absorb in here and here, so we're going to drop this defense. The Citadel ones have defense in them, so I'm not going to buy them. I'd recommend buying these things if you're a DPS. Buy the belt and bracers, because they have power in them, and the 186 ones have crit in them. So if you don't, unless you really need crit, because these are only 6 and 40 basic comms, but the tanking ones have defense in them. Citadel, where are we? Citadel. There's Citadel Duelist. Yeah, Citadel Duelist. Yeah, they have defense in them, so I'd rather have the absorb than the defense. That's why I'm going to buy them. So I did manage to. Ziost in 178 gear is pretty easy. Pretty easy. I soloed 2 champions while I was down there. I did all the side quests. Got these 2 from 2 different champions. Pretty easy as an assassin tank. You might find it a bit difficult if you're DPS, but an assassin tank with Treek as your healer companion. Treek is in full devoted allies gear. Now again, if you might say, oh, but how did you get Treek in devoted allies gear? You just do the Yavin, Zavin there, nearly said. Just do the Yavin weekly. All you do is log in, go pick up all the quests that you did for the story, and pick up the weekly from the terminal. If you want the main hand, you have to do Revan or Forged Alliance's story. You get one from there as well. The offhand comes from killing She Who Greedily Devours on Rishi, and you get the assault generator or the shield if you're using it as a tank. But anyway, that is how you get gear for Treek. Bear in mind, just make sure you pick up the box. You just pick up a box full of gear. There's the main hand there that we're going to use on Ashara. So it will tell you who it requires, who can equip it. Lord Skird, Ashara, Zavros are the two that can use this. This will tell you who can use it. Just make sure the companion that you're using is listed. So Treek is listed because it's an aim. It's an aim assault rifle, an aim blaster rifle. So Corso, Treek, you know, Lieutenant Pierce, Kaleo, people like that can use it. So anyone can use aim and heavy armor. It is yeah, it's heavy. Treek is heavy armor because all aim's heavy armor anyway in the game. So anyway, that is how we do it. We're gonna go. We'll look at part 3, which is going to be the alt method of gearing, where you're just going to see him skyrocket. So we've got 49k HP. We probably will get 40% shield. 40%. That I'm not happy with that offhand either. I'm going to swap that out for some shield, for some absorb as well. So probably 40% absorb, at least before we start doing HM flashpoints. We're at 49.3k. HP. We're not bad. We could get into an HM flashpoint, but we'd probably get kicked. These people want you 50k health. So we probably could. We're geared enough to do an HM flashpoint. We're missing the belt and the bracers, which is no big deal. The implant and the headpiece, implant and earpiece, should we say. Again, the main hand is something that we want as well. I need to get rid of that power crystal that we still had from leveling, get an endurance one in. That'll take us up to 50k pretty easily. We want at least 40% absorb, push towards 40% shield as well. Defense probably about 20% would be fine for HM flashpoints, because we are going to drop a bit of defense. Now what I'm going to do, we'll show you the alt method of gearing, and basically we'll just throw him into as much, well I'm going to keep the 190 stuff because it's pretty decent actually. Throw him into some 198s, we'll get a 198 offhand, we'll get a 192 main hand, and we'll get some 192s basically, a bunch of we'll probably get 192 belt and bracers actually, just because it'll give us even more absorb, and then we'll take a look, and then we'll be geared for ops. But again, for this I would just, if this was my first character, I'd buy with basic comms, I'd buy these two. Depending on your stats, again you can just go grind out a set of Ziost dailies, and it is a bit annoying to have to grind these things, these Ziost memory holographs. But bear in mind, if you run out of holographs and you've ran out of dailies, go to the 186 vendor, go to the Yavin 4 vendor, which is on the fleet, the basic gear vendor. You can go to the vendor on Yavin as well if you want, it's the same stuff. But I just go there and check out that stuff essentially and fill in the gaps. You shouldn't have a problem with basic comms. The Ziost dailies are easy. I mean, there's only, I think, 2 of those dailies requires you to do combat, and you know, they're really easy. It's just a bunch of droids you have to kill, and then one of them's got a droid at the end that you have to kill. It's just one elite droid. Really easy to do Ziost dailies. Your gear's irrelevant. I did Ziost with 178. I started out with 178. Never had any problems killing anything. Never died. No, never died once doing that. So I got everything from that. But again, I would, depends what you want to do really. It depends. If you want to get straight into ops, then just go by the 186 gear. If you're patient though, or if you want to do hard mode flashpoints, they are there as an option. Hard mode flashpoints, the recommended item level is 178, but most people will just kick you from the group. And the classic hard mode flashpoints is who the hell cares, and tactical is just turn up and hit the thing and get the loot. Turn up and collect your elite comms on the way out. You know, that's it really. That's the planetary destination's a waste of time. The operations again, which is TOS tonight. The raids you probably want to get augmented. We'll discuss augments. We'll discuss it now in fact. So for augmenting, unless you know someone who can craft augments, we're gonna need credits for augments. In fact, we'll just go back to our stronghold right now. Oh, piss off. Fucking BioWare. Why can't we travel to stronghold from there? We'll go back and we'll look at some of the augments that we're going to want to get. Bear in mind that you're going to need 1 accuracy augment if you're a DPS. Yeah, that was a waste of time faffing about just to get back to our stronghold. So I've got a GTN terminal in the stronghold, that's why we'll head back there. So we want to get 1 accuracy augment generally. If we've got the, I think it's 7 pieces plus the accuracy augment. We want to get that. And then it's, for a DPS or healer, it depends on crit. I always look at your crit. Is my crit really low from the gear that you've got? If you've got tons of crit, then you can, if before optimizing your gear, you can go for power augments. If you don't have a lot of crit, not gone for a lot of crit, then main stat augments are generally what you want. So to augment your pieces, I just go miscellaneous. Go up here. Ah, nobody's trying to scan. Oh, there we go. Augmentation kit, Mark 10. Sort the price by the lowest. It's about 47k for a kit. You can buy a full set of kits. You know, I think you need about, I mean, you get 14 for 630k. So if you, depend on how much money. Some people like to augment their pieces one at a time. I mean, there's 5 for 250k. It's 50k a piece. The bottom ones are 47k a piece. So you'd be better off just buying them one at a time, because you're saving 3k per augment that you're buying. 47k is at the bottom right here. So again, look at these things, look at the unit price, look at the individual prices, and say, because 5 for 250k is not too bad, unless you can be bothered, but then you get 1 for 47k, so you're saving 3k credits per thing. You need to buy the augment as well. Again, if you know someone who can craft this, or you can craft it yourself, then get someone to craft it for you. The augments are the same. Item mods, augment. We want artifact generally. Now, if you find artifacts too expensive, go for prototype. They tend to be a lot cheaper. The level we want is 58. Level 58 is the highest level augment. The stat that we want for us as a tank, we want absorb. You can see here they are 71k for an absorb augment. Power absorb, we don't get endurance from our augments as a tank. Say if we were going willpower, for example, if we're going for our main stat, we get the resolve ones, 76k, not too bad. Right now, sometimes about 90 to 100k. You get again extra main stat and endurance. You get 34 endurance out of it. Now, if you can't afford these, if you're short on credits, then drop it down to the blue ones. I don't think there's any. In fact, 56 for the blue ones. Drop the level to 56 and you'll see it's 11k. Bit less, the resolve augment 36s. I think they're 37s. The 58s. No, they are still 36. You can see the difference. 34 endurance, 52 willpower. 56 is 30 endurance, 46 willpower. Doesn't sound like a lot of a difference, but if you are min-maxing, then you want the purple ones. So if you're not a min-maxer endgame player, these ones will do fine. The 178 ones will be fine. The 178 item rating ones are fine. They're only 11k each. You know, I wonder how much the absorb ones are. So if you're not going to be doing serious progression rating, 15k a pot plus 47k. To slot an augment in, you have to go to the item modification station. Now I have one here in my stronghold. Pick the item you want. You're gonna pick add augment slot, and it's marked 10. We don't have any, so obviously it says 0. It's going to cost you an additional 42k. Just bear that in mind, that it's going to cost you that. Now I'm not going to augment this stuff because I'm going to swap all this for legacy gear. By the time I've finished, I'll have a bunch of legacy gear in, and we will have. I think I do have the headpiece actually at 192 here. Yeah, I do have the Masashi Mark II headpiece, which is 114 defense. It is better, as you can see. The 192 armorings are something we want to consider as a tank. If you're happy with the defense and shield of that, we'll keep that as defense because we want some defense. So there you go. You can see there we've got already geared up. Here, if we take that pilot suit out, that's strength 1 in there, and we're going to get that upgraded as well. We'll get our grey helix defense generator upgraded. This is where I keep all the crap that I'm gonna. You can see here we've got a bunch of legacy stuff in here in our legacy cargo. So again, I won this Mark II piece from an operation, just random roll won it. And there we go, we can have that for him. Again, it's not a huge upgrade, but it's still a nice upgrade though. It's going to be more armor rating, 6 more armor for us there. So that's really not a huge difference between his Citadel and Massassi Mark II, but Massassi Mark II is still better. Still better for us anyway. So part 3 will show you him as an alt, as we gear him as an alt. But this is geared as a first level 60. The only thing we've really got are the crystals, which again, they gave away a bunch of crystals, you know, the purple crystals, which again, you can have unlimited crystals. I always recommend buying a crystal while leveling, buying a cartel crystal, because they are usable from level 10. Where are we? Item mod, color crystal, level. I think it's purple on level 10. Level 10 to level 10. And we'll just get cartels. Yeah, there you go. A bunch of cartel crystals. You can get like expertise crystals. Cost a hell of a lot. You can have yourself a white-black crystal there for 14 million if you got the money to get it. But yeah, generally it's war hero and indestructible crystals that are the cheapest. Power crystals usually set you back. It's like Hawkeye. Yeah, 84k for a Hawkeye crystal. For a cartel one. You can get them in other ways. They gave away freebies for subscribers. There's 84k. 80k, under 100k, ain't too bad. I have nearly 2 million credits just from leveling. I started them with 500k, but when you get to Ziost, one of the tips for making credits is kill the walkers on Ziost, because they give you between sort of 5 and 7,000 credits per walker. So it's about the same as a daily quest, killing them, and they respawn fairly regularly. There's very few people on that part of Ziost these days, because when you go to the second part of Ziost, when the planet gets destroyed, you are going to be, you can't access the first part. So, you know, it makes sense. We don't have any set bonuses on this guy, and I don't have any set bonus items, so set bonuses look at when we get to raids. We're just trying to get to hard mode flashpoints and story mode raids. So a couple of things we want to upgrade. These two things, we could upgrade these for basic comms, upgrade these two for basic comms, or we could go to Ziost and grind out the dailies, get more basics, we'll get more elites as well. Take a look at his elite comms. You got 64, so 80 is, I think it's 80 to buy the minimum, which is for the belt and the bracers. I'd recommend saving these for the offhand though, regardless of your role, because the offhand will give you force power or tech power, depending on, so it will be a nice increase for you. So I'd say that was 140 elite comms to get the offhand. So it's going to be an increase. At least get the barrel or the armoring or the hilt or whatever. Get the 192 one at least. That's what I'd recommend. Because the 190, there's not a huge difference. I mean, stat-wise, it may be a bit better. Stat-wise, but I'd still suggest getting the 192 one, because it is going to be more tech power or force power. Whatever is the thing, it tends to tell you. It doesn't tell you here because it's an offhand, but you tend to get either tech power. See if we can show you. See if we've got one in the legacy. We got one of these here which has 60 tech power by default, but depending on what you put in it, obviously. And again, the hilt in this one gives it 94 force power. So the better the hilt we put in it. Like if we put a 192 hilt in it, it'll give us more force power. I think it's just a level 11 hilt that's in it right now, because we must have sent that to someone at level 11 and they didn't need it. So anyway, that is all for this video. So part 3, we'll take a look at the alt gearing methods. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you again soon, and goodbye.